Hello, well, good evening, and
Hey,
welcome to the Truth Behind the Truth. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, I'm excited. I'm sorry, I can't get my words out. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight on this wonderful night. Want to welcome our Instagram family, our YouTube family, our Facebook family, and those that are now following us on TikTok. Thank you guys for taking the time out. And of course, our UK family that's been with us for a while. All of those of you have been a part of Truth Behind the Truth almost a whole year. We want to thank you for hanging in there. All right. We have created so many wonderful shows, and we got so many wonderful shows that are coming up. Want to remind you about product. Go to the Truth Behind the Truth page. Get your T-shirt. Okay. The orders are slacking. I don't know why. That means y'all not buying. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Parnell.
So definitely go and get your Truth Behind the Truth page. Truth Behind the page. You messed me up. Anyway, want to remind you to go to the Good Living Now, Harold's page as well.
Yeah.
Get your information on juicing and your book of I Am Enough. Harold will probably make it in tonight. He had a little engagement this evening. He ran a little late, ran in traffic. But if you guys are looking for him, hopefully he may be able to get here in time. All right.
Yes.
And our wonderful brother, loving brother, hey, from the West Coast with us, Mr. Parnell himself. Hey, Parnell.
Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. I'm good. How are you guys? Good to see you smile.
You as well. How has your day, your week been?
Oh, it's been good. It's been good. Well, yeah, it was a little breezier out there. You know, I always get my little workout in.
Yes.
Up here in View Park. You're trying to keep the shirt was there. We go. Got to show the muscle.
You know what? I'm happy to announce that the gyms will be opening up. Hopefully coming this coming week. So I'm happy. I mean, I could care less about the restaurants, but the gym is what I really need at this point. I think the restaurants have eaten up all my money.
Right.
Gave me a little bit of this weight.
Hey, all of it. More than we desire. Yeah. Great. So I'm glad you've had a wonderful week, my friend. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, without further ado, before we get into any heavy discussion, we're going to talk about our guests tonight, okay? Yes. And get them out of the green room and bring them present with us. But we have three powerful ladies tonight, guys, that have taken time out of their busy schedule to be with us to have a beautiful discussion, okay? As you well know, that we are in the series of PTSD from religion. Okay. So it has been one powerful show. I mean, last week, oh my gosh, it was just, anyway, you guys need to go back and listen. If you didn't see last week's show, you definitely need to go back and see it. It's just been really, really awesome. So tonight we have three powerful ladies. Number one in this is that we're able to celebrate them because it's National Women's Month.
Yeah.
So in planning this, we didn't realize that it was National Women's Month that we were planning to have them on the show. So I'm excited.
Excited too.
They are three, as I said, three powerful women that come from very strong spiritual backgrounds. So we are excited to hear from them. Hey, the big one is they're all preachers' kids. And you're a preacher's kid.
Yes, I am.
You know, so that's going to even be awesome in terms of our conversation tonight. So we're really excited. But I'm going to go by single names tonight because they're just so powerful. Okay, you know how Cher have a single name? She walked in with a single name. So I'm going to say single names for all of them because they are powerful. All right, and it's their stuff. So we're going to welcome to the show again. Some I will talk about our first timer in just a second. But our regulars, we call them our regulars because they take time to be with us. So by the one name only, we got Miss Twana. We have Miss Melissa.
Yes, Melissa.
And for the first time to the truth and the truth behind the truth, Miss Anna.
Hello.
Hey, Anna.
Hi, everybody.
I gave all you ladies one name because, you know, in Hollywood, one name works for everything. You say Cher, you say whoever.
Tina,
you know.
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Oh, we will say Beyonce on this show.
Don't even get him started. I'm trying to balance that out a little bit with Beyonce.
But I do want to welcome all of my beautiful ladies to the show tonight. I'm so excited to have you guys and as I always say, taking the time out of your schedule to be a part of this excitement. You know, I've been excited all week about this show coming up because I knew that it was going to be very powerful, very informative, you know, and hey, we're going to encourage somebody. Hopefully we're going to change some lives, change some mindsets, you know, help people come into another place in life, you know, spiritually, physically, and all of what needs to happen with them. you know, at the end of the day. So, ladies, we first of all bow to you and celebrate you. Yes. Celebrate you in your greatness. Blow your kisses, you know, celebrate you in your greatness and what powerful essence that you bring to the planet individually, collectively, you know, and in the realm of the spirit. Yeah. So we are excited. So one by one, we're going to just touch base and let everybody, our audience, get familiar with you once again. And actually, we're going to start with you because you're new to the show. Let everybody tell a little brief about you and all of that, and we'll go around from there. So,
okay. Well, I'm Anna Godbold, and when I heard that name, I thought lightning was going to come out of the sky, but there it is. Okay. I am in Atlanta. I'm in Union City, Georgia, as a matter of fact, metropolitan Atlanta. And Dylan, if you come down here, baby, the sun is shining. You can take walks and all that kind of thing. They've got the gyms open in the whole 9 yards. We're still wearing masks, but by way of understanding. But it's beautiful. I was just saying, as a matter of fact, today, how beautiful the West Coast is. Oh my Lord, you guys are in a beautiful place as well.
Yes.
So hello, everyone, and thank you for inviting me, Brother John.
No problem, darling. No problem. Miss Melissa, how are you, dear?
I am absolutely amazing. I live in Prattville, Alabama. Woo! Right down the road from Dowling, family, walking distance down the road from, and I forgot, Ishmael told me that I have to represent really hard. I got to say Prattville, Alabama. Okay. That's where I'm from. I am very, very, very just humbled by the experience and being able to share with you guys. It's an amazing experience for me and watching you guys grow. And I'm just so happy to be a part of this platform. And I am looking so forward to tonight. And I love all of y'all. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Thank you, darling. All right. The beautiful lady up in the corner, my cousin.
Yes. I'm delighted to be here to be able to join Anna and Melissa this evening in representing that creation that the Lord put to bring womanhood to life in the earth. Yes. And so it feels good to be here this evening. And I'm looking forward to our discussion. I am from Kansas City, Missouri. That's the metropolitan area. However, the city that I actually live in is Leawood, Kansas. Yes. And right now, I consider us to be in the middle of a praise-demic versus a pandemic. Okay. I think life is all about shifting your paradigm, that it is in alignment with our Creator. So we can just praise our way through.
Absolutely. Tell us about your broadcast and your show, and tell our audience tonight about and how they can follow you on your broadcast and what days you're on and what have you, and your streams.
Yes, I am on every Thursday evening on Facebook Live, and then I have a YouTube channel, and it's called Word Up, Word Up, Word Up. Not Word Up one time, but Word Up 3 times. One for the Father, Daddy God. One for the Son, Jesus Christ. And one for the Holy Spirit. So I do that broadcast. It grew out of my transition of healing from a stroke and healing from the loss of my mother. And it ushered me into a place of praise. And so I do that every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. But right now it's shifted to 9 o'clock p.m. for a short period of time. And from that experience, I'm also working on a book soon to be released. It's a work in progress, The Diary of a Stroked Up Sister Girl.
Excellent. Great. You had something with it?
I was going to tell Tawana, those drives back and forth from Atlanta to Kansas City, I love to travel. And, you can always find something new in traveling, or learn something new. And, I don't know about Jay, but the driving aspect I can do all day, every day. And coming from Atlanta to Kansas City, you can see the difference in landscapes, different in communities coming from there to, it's just one of those things. Even when we drove here from Atlanta to California, I tell you, you can find something on those trips that would make you like say, wow. Like, I mean, for real though, it's just something just beautiful about driving clear across country. And those trips, I'm telling you, I people like to say I get on a plane, but I don't care for planes. But it was just the fact that us driving to Kansas City was always that, oh wow. I didn't see that. I never paid attention to that before. Oh, what is this? You know, the cornfields, the wheat.
I'm glad that you enjoyed it and you had a good time. You enjoy driving because I like getting where I'm going.
Exactly. I'm the same way.
Myself there.
Right, exactly.
But I'm glad you had a good time.
I agree with you. I like that too. I'm like, okay, I like getting where I'm going. Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna get myself a tour bus and we're gonna do some trips.
Okay.
We're gonna do some trips. Get myself a tour bus one of these days. But go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and dig into the evening. Well, you know, before we dig into it, you know, I do want to, kind of, I know he wanted to bring up and how what you guys have thought about, and it kind of maybe a roll into because we are focusing on women this particular episode of the show, and on our commercials about it, I put the woman and the question mark. Okay, so that kind of left it open to say, wow, where do women fit? What is the question about women? Why is there always a question about women? Women and womanhood and all those types of things. What is kind of consistently being birthed out of women that changes the atmosphere, changes the environment, all of those other type of things, So before we get into it, I just want to kind of touch on, I know you mentioned about the Meghan and Harry situation and what you guys thought about it, but more so, I think since we're celebrating women, Meghan's approach, how she handles situations, and maybe if each of you can kind of say, if you were in that position, how would you handle that? What are your thoughts toward that? So any one of you can start with that.
Well, in my opinion, Meghan exuded a lot of control. She was very careful with her wording. She didn't want to start any type of coup, if you would, between the two countries, America and England, and she knew that she was actually pretty much a representative of both. So I was very impressed with how she spoke when it was necessary, and also when it was necessary for her to say absolutely nothing. She allowed her body language to speak for her, and I thought it was that takes a lot of wisdom, because most of the time we women, we don't have a problem expressing what we think and expressing what we feel. We're very emotional creatures, So for her to actually exude so much temperance and self-control and giving very specific answers, even without even using words, I thought it was very wise on my part, and I thought it was a very what's the word I want to say? It was just wise. I thought she was a very wise and intelligent woman, the way she responded to everybody. Gotcha. Responded to the questions.
Gotcha.
I would agree. I think that one of the things that she talked about, Anna, that I really was moved by, and that was mental health. That this experience brought her to, or this portion of her life, put her in a position where she had to really wrestle with keeping her sanity. And all of that. And I think that it is symbolic of what women, period, women and men, but specifically since we're talking about women and on that platform, it brought to the forefront that all of us experience seasons or moments in our walk on earth where mentally we're not healthy and we need help. And she was in a place where she needed to reach out and call out for help, and technically had the resources to do it. Can you imagine having the financial resources to do it, but was socially restrained? Like, yes, no, you need to show up like this for the country. Forget how you feel. It's about country. And so to me, it was like, whoa, she raised it up, put it up on a platform, and gave us all an opportunity to look at what that perhaps looked like and felt like. So, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, and high-fiving you across the table. Like, she represented, and with restraint, some restraint and class.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Melissa?
Well, I absolutely agree with everybody on that subject, but she is a live present example of what we are actually here to discuss today, the PTSD that women actually experienced. She knew that there were rules. She knew that she had to stay in a position. She knew that she had to have a certain amount of decorum about herself. She knew, but she had to suppress her feelings and hold them in and deal with them privately. And she had a moment where she was able to speak, and that is a part of her healing. And that is what we're here to actually even talk about. And she is a current example of what we're actually about to speak about.
Yes, absolutely.
And I admire her from the bottom of my heart to be able to be strong enough to keep it together.
Yes, yes. Beautiful. Parnell?
Okay, get my mic there. It's because watching the stuff that Megan has had to go through, and and people talk about, we've talked about postpartum depression a lot. So to have Piers Morgan's ignorant ass,
absolutely.
This is why it's a good thing we can't reach through television screens.
I know, right? That's not making Sharon Osbourne, but keep going.
Right. Oh, her too. I'm like, because okay, so this woman has had all sorts of racist attacks against her from the moment it became public news that she and Prince Harry were dating. Right. Look like she almost straight out of Compton. It's like, is the royalty going to be gangster now? And I'm like, are you serious? And of course, that's not racist. I'm like, yes, it is.
Right.
It says AF. And and for her to have dealt with that and be blamed for anything that went wrong, somehow it's Megan's fault.
Right.
But she's very classy in how she's like, I could come on here and name names and give you dates and show you the receipts, but I
love that.
This was said, but I'm not going to say who said it because it's going to look bad on them.
Right.
Really not trying to create that problem.
Right.
But it is just so indicative of how Black women are treated and regarded, where it's just like, on the one hand, Black women are so strong, but then the other hand, you have somebody go, she's too strong and she's too opinionated. She spoke up. It's kind of like, well, I need you to understand the full spectrum of Black womanhood, that it's not all this or all this, but it's a whole spectrum of things that are going on here. Right. And for her plight to be so disregarded, like you're saying, to have the money to be able to go get help, but be told you to go get help because it's going to make the monarchy look bad.
Right.
Which is just adding to the stress and the pressure that she had to deal with. I mean, the fact that she would go to events because she didn't trust herself to be home alone because she thought she would kill herself. That's a horrible position for anybody to have to be in. And I'm so glad that Prince Harry was like, I'm getting my wife and my baby up out of here.
Out of here, yes.
She's not going to die because of y'all's nonsense. So I'm like, thank you, Prince Harry, for that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh,
go ahead.
It just came to me as Parnell was saying this, that Prince Harry, it's important when a woman has a man, if a man is in her life, that he can share and shoulder any of the drama and the trauma that they may experience. Because had it not been for the drama and trauma that he experienced with his mama and her death, he probably could not relate to where he is now.
That's good.
And so that in a sense that it speaks to how there are times in our lives when the things that we think that we're going through and it's unbearable is really a preparation for something else to come.
Absolutely.
And we're going to deal with it because of this here right here.
Right. Gotcha.
And to piggyback off of that, Tawana, is the fact that even the situation that he went through, living with his mother and seeing her go through that, with Megan, he realized how ignorant he was to his own situation with race. Because that was a story. I think he went to I think they had a conversation, him and Megan, about the difference between a black doll and white doll. And I think there was talk of I think he was trying to explain the fact that he didn't pay any attention to any of the black dolls because he never saw any.
Mm-hmm.
Until he married Megan, he noticed the discrimination and walked through that discrimination with her and realized what he missed.
Mm-hmm.
But through his wife, he was experiencing,
mm-hmm.
and he saw it, which was, and that's one of the things I wish that some of our white counterparts who don't sometimes see it would take away from what he expressed in that interview.
Mm-hmm.
Also, on another topic, I like the fact that she exposed America's inheritance from Great Britain, the racism that we seem to have forgotten that still is in the UK.
Right.
As a colonial, as a country who still has a black and brown commonwealth, which I hope they saw this interview and saw the writing on the wall and say, you know what, we don't want this as a representation of our countries anymore. And if we have to, we're going to disassociate ourselves from this monarchy. I'm hoping that is the case right now for them to have a biracial woman in their family and tell her to her face that they were telling her that her son wouldn't get any type of titles because of the fact of how brown his skin will be.
Right.
So I'm hoping and praying that with that is a writing on the wall for countries like Jamaica or some islands in the Caribbean, saying, you know what, if that's the case, then we're going to step away from y'all. And let's see how y'all can fare well with us, because y'all have been in power this long because of us. We're going to step away. So I'm hoping and praying that is the case.
Excellent.
Yes.
America.
What are you saying?
I think just like America pulled away.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, I love how this has opened a part of our discussion in terms of tonight, and where we're going, because, for the example, as each of you mentioned about the strength that she exhibited, through that, she really, if you want to categorize that and how, on the flow of our conversation tonight, is that the monarchy is a form of religion. Religion is a practice, as we all know. So it's a religion. It's an expected behavior that should be coming out, that she's been able to do. But she found herself, in the midst of all of that, and had pushed herself from having, or I should say, she found a way to establish and identify her PTSD from what she was dealing with. So she brought that to the light, and in the forms of the conversation she had with Oprah. So it freed her, and now but I know I'm jumping around, but the beauty of that is that sometimes that we're in the middle of something that we don't really know how strong we are until we're in the middle of it. Yes. And so as it came forth in her conversation, she had to be enlightened that the fact that the strength that she didn't think she had to go through it, she did have it all along. So that strength that was automatically there for her, hey, we could say that it was from her creator if she does identify it on that aspect of it, but that strength was there for her all along, even at the point when she was at the point of the infallible point, wanting to commit suicide. But that strength one that comes from our creator says, "Oh, hold on, Megan. You know what? I got a better plan for you." Now, she may not have heard it the way you and I and the rest of us heard it, but she probably heard, "Don't do it." You know what I mean? Because there's a better destiny out there for you. So the moment that she had, I think, to get in front of Oprah brought her to even a higher place of relieving herself from the PTSD that she was experiencing being a part of that monarchy. At the end of the day,
the Queen is the head of the
English church. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, that's another, what we're talking about.
Exactly. So, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get back. We're going to dig into this whole thing. But I think this is a great segue into opening up where we're going to go. All right, we'll be right back after this quick break. Hey, and we're back. Thank you for tuning in to us tonight, guys. We want wants to listen to me. I want y'all. Want to welcome our Facebook family, our YouTube family, definitely our Instagram family, and now the followers from TikTok. So we're so glad to have you guys being a part of us tonight. Our beautiful guest tonight, the lovely Anna, the lovely Miss Alyssa, and the lovely Tawanda. We're so glad to have you guys with us tonight. And again, of course, the handsome and debonair Mr. Parnell. And the handsome and debonair Mr. Diley. And of course, y'all can say it about me if y'all want to. I mean, I'll take it off. But anyway, one thing before we dig in, I'm sure you guys saw the commercial break. We were just discussing it. When I was putting I'm sorry. Let me take a pause. I do need to mention about our guest next week, okay, which is Bishop Jim Swider, which is my spiritual pastor from Atlanta. Very, 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 very overly just in the house spiritual man. Okay. And I encourage you guys to watch the show next week. We're still digging in, of course, to PTSD from religion. But I can say awesome. And really guys will be, your spirituality will be heightened to a completely another level of freedom. Okay, of freedom of who you are, and embracing that freedom that you probably don't even realize that you were free from. Okay, and again, being free from religion, and here's the thing: religion is not necessarily something, as we know, as a church practice. There's so many other things in our lives that become religious behaviors that we also need to get free from. But the point that I wanted to get you guys' opinion was, I don't know, we're just sharing off the commercial that I put together, as you guys probably saw with the fire, and the representation of what fire means to us in our lives, and I feel this right now. And how it just starts out with the fire of our creator. If the first panel says our creator, and then it deals with you, and then it deals with humanity. And then once you've gotten that together, then you're in the point of the fire of your freedom. Yeah. So I when I put that together, I was like, what is very provocative or provoking for people to really look at, situations like that? And we hear about the fire of God in every aspect from Genesis to Revelations. I think a lot of times it has been misconstrued in terms of what it represents. And if people think of fire as destruction. Yeah. Okay. But fire in scripture is meant for purification. Okay. Yeah. And we have taken that, and I think in misguided points of scripture, and made it to be a damnable thing, if you understand what I'm saying by that, versus the celebration of what fire means. Because when we talk about God, we talk about the fire, the all-consuming God. We've heard all of these things in church, but do we really perceive him as an all-consuming? Meaning that not what has been presented to us as a negative sense, you know what I'm saying? But we being of his representation, who we are all-consuming, being able to analyze our situation and burn them up. You know what I'm saying? Get rid of them, because you have the fire, the power to get rid of them, and rather than blowing the fire out, okay, you know what I'm saying? You have the ability to allow those things to be consumed out of your life, and that. One of the points that about me, we'll dig a little bit further. I remember, and I shared this on the first episode, as all of my churchism that I've gone through. Most of you guys know that about me. The one thing I realized, I think, when I was in the midst of Catholic and Lutheran denominations, okay, and along with being a faithful AME, that at that time I wasn't experiencing that zeal, that excitement that comes from what we see as the worship experience, because most of those practices were very quiet, very hushed, and of course, Tawanda, back in the day, AME was not a church that was a very celebratory. We were very quiet, we were very disciplined, we were very poised, and all of that, So, but later on in that point of life, I said, I'm missing something. I need some fire, and I said this in my head. So I started seeking out that fire. And seeking it out. I said, well, I ended up in the Baptist church. I said, well, the Baptist church is a little bit more lively than the AME church, So I started going there, trying to find that level of fire, and later on, it curved itself and moved forward. Then I learned how, well, some of this fire is too much. But it was taken in a way of a context that, different religions, they practice the worship, whatever. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. And you guys, did you guys catch that in the opening? I don't know if I was just by myself, about how that commercial that's put together for the show. Did anybody catch that besides me?
I caught the fact that I loved it. One, I like orange, and fire. Right, in it. But I immediately picked up a sense of birthing, a sense of cleansing, a sense of burning up what isn't right, but giving birth to what is. So personally, I was impressed with it.
Okay, thank you. Anna?
Well, I heard three things. I heard provoked, I heard fire, and I heard freedom. And the fire is definitely in us. God is in us. Right. But a lot of times that we have to be provoked by God, circumstances that seem so uncomfortable, in order for that fire to come to the surface. Yes. And because without the fire, there is no freedom. Right. And we were talking earlier. We were talking earlier about Miss Megan, and she had that fire in her all along. Her natural feelings, of course, were, this is terrible. I'm up against this big institution here. I'm up against this thing, and it's too much for me. But what provoked her is when she thought about her child's future, like any woman. Real women, mothers, we can take a lot. We take a lot. But when it comes to our children, then we are provoked to do what is absolutely necessary. And we are provoked to do things that we didn't even know that we had it in us to do in order for freedom to come forth. So the fire is absolutely necessary. And to be provoked by the fire to fight for freedom, that it takes every bit of that.
Wow. Good. Melissa?
Absolutely. And once again, I agree. I'm so glad to be in the company. I agree with every bit of it. But the fire for me, with all those things being said, is about an urgency. When something is on fire, there's an urgency about getting it done. And parts of this series, that is what it's been about, is the urgency of getting the word out, opening up the doors for these things to be heard. And that's what I felt when I saw the fire. It was exciting to me.
Okay. Wow.
The heat of it all was exciting to me.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you. Parnell?
Yeah. I'm like, speaking of heat, let me turn this flame up a little bit over here. Now, because I want to make sure that we talk about, when we're talking about PTSD, and especially that we have our sisters here,
right?
And I think of the trauma that women have gone through under the name of religion since ever,
right?
And especially when we're talking about the Judeo-Christian Islamic faith.
Yes, right.
And a lot of oppression of women. Yes. And I remember, I talked about a couple of weeks ago about being on my, I guess it's a theological journey of I want to know why we believe the things that we believe. So I read this book, A History of God by Karen Armstrong. And she's one of those people that they go to when we're talking theological stuff. Karen's one of the people to talk to.
Yes.
And in all three of those faiths, women are the first believers. And they're the first.
Yes.
And then somewhere along the way, men understand the power of control that comes with religion, and women push to the back. It's like, come on, woman, this is the men's rules.
Right.
We make the decisions and we make the rules of what our religion is going to be. And we're the ones that give the word. And I mean, even to the point where a lot of the women in biblical scripture don't even have a name.
Right.
Well, does Lot's wife have a name? No, she's Lot's wife. Okay. And I had to look up because I wasn't sure if Pharaoh's daughter had a name. So I had to Google it and say, oh, she had a name. I just forgot it again. But I don't remember if it's mentioned in scripture or we had to go through and find out by doing a historical breakdown of the time period. Like, oh, this would have been the daughter.
Right.
That sort of thing that happens, I think, has caused a lot of trauma for women, especially when women try, no, I don't say try because you all have done it, fight for independence and representation, how much women have had to fight for just to be able to say, wait a minute, but I feel God speaking to me to preach, or God speaking to me to sing the gospel as well. And being told, no, you can't. This is a man's thing. This is a man's thing.
Right.
I look at that, and even with the story of Adam coming, which is great in a lot of our mythology of different religions. However, biology says female comes first, and then men develop. And so that's the whole thing of y'all still on that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Say that one more time. You lost me on that. That what comes first, and then men develop.
Well, all life, all of us begin as female,
right?
And it's like about 6 weeks into gestation that we become male from female.
Okay.
But we have that belief thing that man came first, but everything that we see around us shows that no, female comes first, and then develop from that.
Absolutely. Okay.
Excuse me. So when we look at, warring the difference between religious thought and biological fact, when we put those two together, it's like going, let's really look at that. And I think that it's somewhere down the wrong path. When we look at women claiming their full power, threatening, I hate to say it's threatening to the patriarchy, but it is. That is the truth. But when we look around, when we see that women are empowered, the whole civilization does better.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I mean, I really like that point that you just made, that there, and just as an example of how that happened is that in Georgia, in the election, period that just went on in Georgia, and the masterful mind of Stacey Abrams, what I mean, to be on the very forefront and to establish what she did and got out there and made it happen. So it was to her visionary point of being that woman, but then she birthed something great, birthed something major in a state that it would never ever thought it would be ever accomplished. So I mean, kudos to her and her idea of having this implanted seed within her, allowing it to go through its it was I won't say that's not a word, gestation, but the birthing process, I put that way, allowing it to be there, even in the midst of the possibility of wanting to birth something too early. You know what? So she had labor pains too early. Okay, way too early. She had labor pains 4 years too. Was it 2 years too early? 2 years too early. So she wanted the birth to be something else that baby wasn't supposed to be. It wasn't a governor baby. Okay, because the governor baby couldn't do what the overall person that she became baby had to do. So she got more done in this new baby than she had as the governor baby, because the governor baby could never reach in the capacity that this baby did. So she had to allow herself to stay a little bit more time, and time in terms of her preparation for that baby to birth. That baby has come forth and has been an amazing thing, and will ever in history be marked completely. So I'm so proud of her, in that aspect. Unless you got something you want to say, I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I'm just listening to you speaking on her holding something for the purpose of it being birthed. Just like with Mary, people get caught up on the conception part of it, that there weren't bodily fluids exchanged, and that was the big thing. No, the Spirit came to her and told her that she was about to carry that Spirit that was going to save the world.
Thank you.
It wasn't about the man, it was about the Spirit, and she was going to birth that thing. That was her job.
Yes.
And I have, oh my goodness.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about Megan and her being, I heard it said that it was made to be her fault. No matter what it was, just her pure existence, everything about that was her fault.
Yes.
Okay. There are women in the Bible, just because they were there, it turned out to be their fault. Like Adam and Eve. It's Eve's fault just because she said no. It was Adam's responsibility to follow the rules.
Absolutely. Wow. Woo.
Okay. And women get the blunt. Oh, it's a woman's fault. She influences the man. A man's got to answer for what he does.
Absolutely.
She was doing her part, a part of the story.
Yes.
But it wasn't because she was a woman. It was because she that was her existence. That was her job.
Right.
And we get blamed because it was a woman. Jezebel. She wore makeup. They talk about how pretty and how she was attractive. She had a part in a story. I get talked about. I'm a preacher's kid. If I put on lipstick and I put on and I want to look good, that's you being no, I'm being Melissa.
Absolutely.
Stop judging me on pieces of scripture.
Right.
I had to grow up with gloves up to here, white stockings, everything covered up, because if my kneecap showed, Deacon so-and-so was going to have something to say. Talk to Deacon so-and-so. This is my kneecap.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah.
Stop blaming me for somebody else's indiscretions.
Yes.
Let me be me.
Yes. Love it.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. Stay there, baby.
And as I grew older, there were so many things and so many places I felt like, oh, I can't say this, I can't do this, I can't do that, because people are looking at me because my dad is a pastor, my mom is a pastor, they're both in the church. Everybody's looking at me and judging me. Okay, you are a Christian. You say you're following Christ. Christ walked with everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So who are you to tell me how I'm supposed to behave? But you gossip, you talk about people, you're eating things that the Bible say you ain't, but you can judge me.
Right.
My daddy told me, he said, baby, he said, my job is to teach you right from wrong. Once I've taught you right from wrong, I'm supposed to show you. Okay. All that goes together. I'm showing you. It's on you. At the end of the day, you answer for yourself. He said, I had to go through something to get where I am. I ain't always been perfect, and I'm not perfect today.
Right.
And I accept people as they are. My dad met me where I was. He wasn't up here. And you're a girl. You can't. Never did he say a woman can't come in a pulpit. But the thing is we have to remember the Bible is told in stories, so they're situational. So there may have been a situation where the woman wasn't supposed to go there.
Yes.
There may have been a situation where her hair needed to be covering her head.
Yes.
She shouldn't have shaved her head. There may have been a situation.
Yes.
But you want to push it all together and put a blanket on it and say that's how a woman is supposed to be. Yes. No.
Oh,
okay. Now I'm going to hush.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I am hearing in my spirit the description. I can't pull it up, the specifics of it right now, but the enemy came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I have come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundant.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
When we think about from a restrictive church perspective, the things that we've been told throughout history, you can't do this and your dress needs to be here and you can't do this, you can't do this. It's like the enemy is always putting those things out in front of us that help and restrict us.
Right.
And keep in mind, the enemy look real good. It's very seductive. The enemy ain't the what's on the hot sauce bottle with the pitchfork and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, no. Okay? We're talking spiritual things here.
The enemy look real good and is very enticing and is always blending the truth with what's straight out the pit of hell.
Right.
And so it is up to us to keep our ears tuned to our Creator.
Right.
And the fact that he created us for greatness and for a purpose in the earth realm.
Absolutely.
And it is, when I think about earlier, when we were talking about Megan and what she was experiencing during the break, and I can't remember specifically what was said, I was led to look up London Bridge, because it was something one of you all said that took me to London Bridge is falling down.
Yes,
I don't know what. Somebody said something, and I'm like, why is that in my head? And specifically, when I looked it up, it referenced the fact that the idea about London Bridge was that babies could be buried in the bridge as a sacrifice. That unless things would not take place unless babies could be buried in that particular bridge.
Wow.
And I'm like, why is that coming to me? But then when you think about Megan and Mark on what she's dealing with now, and the drama and the trauma she's going through as it relates to the baby in her belly and as it relates to what she's about to usher into the earth realm. She's really about to break down the cray-cray.
Wow.
Okay. And as she is birthing this, the enemy was trying to take her out. Okay, but she is like, no. Okay. And she started speaking her truth. So all of this just started coming to me since talking. I had no plans to say this. And it's like, I don't want to talk about this guy. No, I don't want to talk about it. But he's like, go to London Bridge is falling down.
Wow.
Let him use you. Let him use you.
Were being buried. It was a tradition that in order to keep the city or the bridge safe, they had to bury babies in the bridge. And so look at what she represents in the earth realm. And she's carrying a child, and she's over there now on a platform of tearing down all the things that's been keeping them on the straight and narrow.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, I just had to speak it.
No, I'm sorry. Because this is what I love about this show. Oh my God.
But there is a total meltdown over in the UK. There is a total meltdown that is going on right now. And it's showing. It's showing even over here in some aspects. You know, it's so funny. What we say, what doesn't phase us over here in the United States does phase us. You know, even after this interview, you know, you don't expect Republicans or GOP leaders to talk about monarchists or support monarchists. And they're in this situation are supporting the monarchy over what this lady had just said, which is telling you that the power of the power construct, the powerfulness that we assume as royalty is almost in a sense coming down.
Right. Well, it is.
It's coming down.
I'm just, you know what? I'm still at a place of awe. You know, you could at a place of awe, Twana. I mean, because that was a clearly for this time, this segment, and those of you who are watching this, that says it all. You know, to that particular, I'm serious. That was completely downloaded from our creator. That's beautiful. You know, I mean, honestly, I mean, that is so good. That is so good. That's like that Kairos moment that we needed to have, you know, part of the show tonight. That was still totally Kairos moment. Anna, go ahead. I know you've been waiting.
Well, I'm just so glad that I'm a woman. I am so glad that I'm a woman. It's like after God had put everything in place, then he created woman. Yeah. And our job is, of course, is to oversee, is to help. And I was listening to the other brother he was talking about how we were all born, you know, female, and then it changed and our sex organs and whatnot came later on. And I think about how God even addressed wisdom as a she. Okay. And of course, that just simply is the mind and the thought and the ways of God, you know? So and we women, we have that in us. And it's just all about timing. I'm listening to what everybody's saying. And it seems like it pretty much comes to the conclusion that yes, women, we do have this greatness in us. Yes, born with it. God put it there. And when he has a special assignment, a special work for us to do, which we do on a daily basis anyway, just by taking care of ourselves and our significant others and families, but something great, earth-changing, world-changing, is all about timing. It's all about timing. And it's time for our vice president. It's time for Miss Stacey Abrams. It's time, you know, for Ms. Megan to speak out. Everything is in timing. So for all my sisters who are listening and watching and don't know how powerful you are, know this. And I tell you, it's even more powerful to know that you're powerful and to wait for that moment when God says, do this, and God says, do that, or don't do this, and don't go along with that, you know, and speak out about it. It's just so awesome. I'm just so glad I'm a man.
I love it. Parno, I know did you have something?
No, I'm just sitting here listening to Anna, and I'm just like, hashtag Black women for the win.
Yeah.
It is just this wonderful thing to see that as women are breaking free of their trauma, that the patriarchy is experiencing a little bit of trauma.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Like, but what does this mean if we regard women on equal footing? It's like, well, it means you're recognizing women as fully realized human beings. That's
absolutely.
That there is enough to go around, that you don't lose anything because other people are on an equal footing.
Right.
So that's the thing that people keep looking at. Oh, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose. And like, you're not really losing anything. You will still have the opportunity to do whatever it is that you're doing. But now there are other people who are getting an opportunity. Now we have women who are getting an opportunity to lead congregations, to lead companies, to lead countries.
Right.
And it's just been such an exciting time to be alive, to see this happening, to realize what so many of our sisters have gone through, even in our lifetime. We all think, oh, that was so long ago, but before, it was still in the 70s that married women couldn't have a credit card in their own name, and gave permission.
Right.
Now we have a female Black and Indian vice president in the White House.
Right.
That's a huge amount of growth to happen in a relatively short period of time, given the history of all that has happened.
Absolutely.
That women have to go through, and usually based on religious doctrine.
Right.
Woman in her place, keeping a woman in her place. Well, guess what? Woman's place is the CEO. That woman is the governor. That woman is the vice president. That woman is the secretary of state. That woman is, all the district attorney. So we're seeing that happen now. It's like, guess what? The world didn't fall apart because women got freedom. And it's not going to fall apart. And if we give an opportunity, we can look and say, oh my goodness, we're afraid of this all this time. And look what happened. Look at the opportunities that opened up because we stopped standing in women's way.
Right. Yes.
Realized human beings. I'm here for it. Hashtag Black women for the win. All women for the win. All women.
But you know what, in a sense, I want to piggyback on what you said, Parnell. I was watching this movie called Self-Made, the Madam C.J. Walker film on Netflix, and there was a part in the film where she was talking to Booker T. Washington about trying to push the race towards us as success as women, as the Black woman in the community, having a job that will also help the Black man keep the family afloat, and how Booker T pushed against that with the construct of what westernized thinking when it came down to where the woman should be in her place. Let's just say it like that. And I kept saying to myself, for many years, Black women have been. I don't see what was the need in the feminist movement in a way when it came down to the situation, but I understand where it stemmed from. But the fact that Black women have been their own feminist movement from the very beginning, since the very beginning of slavery, through Harriet Tubman, through Sojourner Truth, through Madam C.J. Walker, through Fannie Lou Hamer, to Billie Holiday, the people who came and revolutionized what it looked like to be a progressive woman in the first place, through the situation of oppression, and sometimes through the situation of church. Because there have been situations where, people like Mahalia Jackson, who could have been a powerful beacon in the church, but in her only way was, I think they pushed her because she was just a gospel singer, but she was powerful in the movement when it came down to Martin Luther King. When it came down to I Have a Dream, when he couldn't even bring out the words to I Have a Dream, she pushed that at that moment. Talk about the dream, Martin. And if it wasn't for her in that background said, talk about the dream, Martin, there wouldn't be no I Have a Dream speech. And that is the situation and that we need as people. We should. There is no competition. There was never no competition. There's just always been division. But the division was there because of the fact that there was I keep saying the oppression, like you said, to want to come to divide, to destroy, and to conquer. That has always been our downfall. Letting somebody come into our communities, divide, conquer, and destroy us.
Absolutely.
And that is the reason why we have to talk about the PTSD sometimes of the church, because that in its own little way, there has been that oppression has came in and kind of tweaked that situation within the religious aspect of what our spiritualness, where our spiritualness have been more progressive in the first place. We have always been a progressive people, but we always had that situation above us. It's like, wait a minute now, let's tweak this a little bit. We should not be talking about this. We talked about this before the show. We should not be talking about your culture, your African roots, who you are as a whole person. But let's just put this aspect over just,
Absolutely. You know, I when all of you were speaking, and again, as we're celebrating women, the one thing that came to me was the quote that Ruth and Ruth Boaz story. Must be familiar with that. But the one quote that stood out to me was such a time as this. Okay. It's a beautiful point when the woman has her such a time as this.
Yes.
Okay, you guys have and will have many such a time as this. A part of your, everybody knows I like to say journey, because I think to me that's a long road to a never-ending destination. However, but I'll say that for the sake of just bringing it into light. So, such a time as this. I want to bring back up the point about one thing I was really admired about the day that about Harry and Meghan when on the day of the marriage, and there were so many beautiful points about their marriage on the day that they got. I don't know if you guys remember seeing it. Now, the way it impacted me, I had dropped him off at work, and I was in the car and I was trying to catch it, and watching it on the phone. And I didn't want to miss a minute of it. But the one thing that I knew, and I'll say this by the Spirit, that I knew that about her and her personhood, however, again, she sees herself spiritually, we don't know that, and it should not be our concern. We know that she has been appointed by our Creator for a specific purpose, and she's fulfilling that purpose, and she's helping people that have had PTSD in those areas. So she is helping them to evolve. But the point I was going to make was, when she stepped out of the car, I felt something amazing. You remember I told you that? Yeah. I was like, and you guys know how very sensitive I am about spiritual things. I'll cry in a minute, because I know that it's about what our Creator is saying at that time, and I'm hoping everybody catches it. But when she stepped out of that car, I almost drove off the road, because I dropped into tears, and I was like, what is this? What is this about this woman? That has been able to move to such beauty and all. But here's the thing: not in the Princess Diana type of adornment, not in the Kate Middleton type of adornment. But if you looked at how her dress was, very simple, very understated in most terms of what a wedding should be. The attention was not about her, but it was about her. So they could not walk away saying, oh, her dress looks such a, they tried to do it, but they couldn't. All they kept saying is Meghan this, Meghan that, Meghan looked this way. Not many things ever said about that dress. Okay. And all of those, you understand, you follow me what I'm saying, because you look at Princess Diana, oh my God, they talked about a dress. It was about how long her train was, and how fluffy, and how the pearls were so interwoven in it. Of the cake. Wrinkled. Yeah, exactly. And then when Kate Middleton, they talked about all the detailing but they never mentioned anything about who? Kate. Never. Not one time. So I'm just saying that to say, I'm just saying that to say that a lot of times is that in the subtleties, and that, because I encourage women, because you guys see things a lot of times that men don't see. But when you see those things, lady, speak on them. Bring life to it, because in that moment, it may be something that you have to give birth to right then and there. Okay, don't be afraid of that essence. Don't be afraid. Hey, thank you, Tawana, for tonight. Just saying, your Creator said, hey, go and research this in this quick moment. Bring this to light, because that was powerful. Okay, I'm telling you, that set the tone. I mean, there's so many different things. Looking at how it is, and I'm totally educated. I mean, I'm at all the education. You know, at the end of I'm sure everybody on here can say they're educated about it. You know, at the end of the day, how it was. But I just wanted to say that I think about that again. Such a time as this, you know. Go ahead,
John. I was gonna say I was moved to, as you were, and you and I've never talked about this that I can remember anyway. By the not the ceremony, but the spirit that day.
Yes.
And I have another sister. She may be listening tonight, Anita Malbia, and we typically will connect when both of us like we felt something in our spirit. And so we connected that day, and both of us, I was standing on my deck with tears running down my face because it wasn't about the ceremony, it was the spirit, and it was the priest. I cannot remember.
Oh my gosh, yes.
He broke that thing.
Yes, he did.
And it all boiled down to, and it's so appropriate for tonight. He's like, you know what? Forget everything y'all might be tripping on. It's all about love. L-O-V-E.
Yes.
Everything. If it ain't, it's all about love.
Absolutely.
And he said that, and how the two of them, you know, caressed and couched each other. It's like, as I look back now, it was a platform for the things to come.
Yes.
But the center of it was, it's all about love. And if you're going to make this journey, it's got to be about love.
Got to be about love. You know, and since we're talking about beautiful parts of symbolism, I know we're running over in our time, but that's okay. You know, we got a few more minutes to go. We're talking about symbolisms, okay? And as you were saying, and the embracement of how for the first time I've ever seen a man that what Harry did with her during the ceremony is not a usual practice. You know what I'm saying? In that environment, I'll say, you know, so how he caressed, how he made sure that she was okay all through the whole ceremony, you know, the process there. But symbolism here is where you speak about love, and the whole picture of everything we've talked about is about love. But here's the thing about the idea of what we see in the human realm of where we're lacking, and what their symbolism is bringing together is the unity of humanity. Okay, you got a African American woman, biracial woman, if you want to put it, that has created a seed of another entity of a child that has come forward of the unit of people coming together. Okay, showing that the races have a purpose to be together. And as the races come together and put away all of our other okay, you know what I want to say, all right? Put that stuff away. We free ourselves from the PSTD of the things that we've heard, be it from in the church, out of the church, from family and everything else. Put that stuff aside and understand that you have a purpose for such a time as this. Okay, to make life better for humanity. When we make life better for humanity, the universe, God just says, "Hey, I'm standing up, clapping for y'all, because this is what this is what you've been put here to do, and this is what I'm expecting out of you." Put all this stuff. I'm telling you, put this talk about sin aside, because honestly, if you're in Christ, there is no sin. Bottom line. Okay, because He has removed all sin and stain and has been buried and put away. So let's stop talking about sin. Okay, it's not of your makeup. It's not of who you are. If you're in Christ, there is no sin. Bottom line, it's done away with. Now, if you say there's sin in your life, then you have defeated what has happened to the cross. Marinate that on that for a moment. You have said everything that Jesus paid for is non-existent when you pronounce sin in your life. Now, I'm gonna give an education on sin. We got to wrap this up real fast. Now, you can email me. I don't care, but I'm gonna bring back the same point again. All right, about how it looks. And Twana and Melissa, and you know me and Anna go with this all the time. Okay, the thing about sin, what is represented as sin, is the lack of accountability for your action. Is the only sin. Okay, if you are accountable for your actions, you don't do the things that are displeasing to your fellow brother, which would not be displeasing to God. Bottom line. Okay, you don't have to go through the 7 layers of the 10 commandments in order to understand that if you get the first 3 right, the other 7 will follow. Okay, you don't we too hung up on the don't do's. We need to be thinking about the do's. What are you doing? Only what you do for Christ will last. Only.
Come through, Pastor. Come on through, Pastor.
Only, okay? Only what you do for Christ will last. And we're not talking about the man Jesus. We're talking about the Christ Spirit, baby, because that's what you operate in is the Christ Spirit, okay? Jesus is in the heavens as a spirit, not as a man, okay? Not as a man, as a spirit, because we walk clearly in that spirit each and every day of our lives, that our Creator says, put your feet on the floor, open your eyes, and say, thank you for this day that I have given you the life again to move on this side of the planet. So let's stop all of this sin talk, people. It's not about sin. It's about the love that you give to humanity. Now, if you want to talk about sin, then the sin is you not giving love to humanity. That's when you want to talk about sin, because the outside of all that is minute conversation. Period. End of sentence. Okay, I said my part. Let's work on the love, baby. Let's work on the love. I'm telling you, work on the love. All of it falls into place. You know, stop this separation. I celebrate our culture. I think it's a beautiful thing, because our culture is the one that has foundated from the point of Adam all the way down. Okay, it has been our culture. There have been separations, been divisions. Hey, we can dissect all of that if you want to, but at the end of the day, it began in love. Guess what? And it ends in love.
Yes.
Anything else in between is minute. It started in love. God created created it in love, and it ends in love. So anything else in between is minute. Every experience, every story you can bring up, children of Israel, everything is all minute. It started in love and it ends in love. Okay, at the end of the day. Now, I'm saying my part. I'm going to let everybody have their quick point, and then we're going to wrap it up for tonight because we're going way into time. All right. And go ahead. If you want to say something to the audience tonight in closing.
You know I'm all about that love. When you've got that love, you have no place for that post-traumatic stress disorder.
Absolutely.
Because you're trusting in the divine.
All right. Parnell.
That's it.
I was just, all I kept hearing was, God is love, the rest is all man-made.
Amen.
Okay.
Operating that spirit. That's it.
Gotcha. Melissa?
I appreciate being here. PTSD is a therapy, working through it, and this is part of the process, realizing that there is a such thing, and grasping a hold of your faith and your belief and going forward with it. And like you were saying, you got to trust, and no talking about sin. If you live by example and you're doing your part, you don't have to talk about sin, because if you're doing right, you're showing by example. So there's no need to talk about the sin. Talk about the love and the truth. Woo! And I love y'all.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Twana?
Mary comes to mind,
okay.
The mother of Jesus.
Uh-huh.
She had not been touched by a man. And as women, men as well, but as women, in order for the Creator to truly use us, we cannot allow ourselves to be touched by mankind, but by our Creator.
Amen.
Wow. There's always a seed being planted. Gotcha. Wow. Go ahead, man.
I just wanted to, just say that, love is consideration, love is kind, love is understanding. Until we get to a point of that, we'll be better off. But we have to listen to one another. We have to understand one another's situations, and we have to understand and be considerate of those situations and whatever angst that are going on in our lives or their lives. It's just the fact that, we're now in a time, and I'm learning from what's going on with Megan, but also what's been going on with us for the past 4 years with another situation that we're not going to discuss. But the fact is that listening and understanding and consideration was thrown out the door, but that comes with a better situation when it comes with civilization. Let's just say it like that. Comes to society. We have to understand and listen, not listen to respond, but just listen to understand, and then go through the process of researching and saying, you know what, I hear what you say, and I understand, even though we come from different situations, different backgrounds, different cultures, different races and spaces, but at the end of the day, I hear you and I love you, in spite of what you are, whoever is what you're going through, I still love you. You know, and that's what I want to put in.
Okay, beautiful. You know, ladies, I'm always at the point, and of course, the Redcast knows, and the Parnell and Dialogue always hears me say this. Because we have such beautiful conversations like these, I never want them to necessarily end. I think that they build upon the next level of a great conversation. Because I'm really excited about the conversation next week with Bishop Twilley. It's going to be really even and heightened. And guys, I encourage you guys to definitely watch the show next week. Come back next week. Come back. What I'm trying to do is that I do want to invite you guys back. You know, maybe because we got one more week after this of another discussion in this, and I really like having the gatherings of a completion. Yeah. You know, and I really want to see if you guys are available to come back, maybe not next week, but for the week, 2 weeks from now, as we wrap it up, and then just share out of your abundance, even what you've taken away and applied today, you know, and move forward and see where it has placed you, so that we can continue on this quest as who we are in our separate lives to free humanity and help them understand why they've had their PTSD and help them be free. That's the goal. That's the goal of this series, to be able to do that. So are you guys free to come back in a couple of weeks? I mean, is it scheduled work for everybody?
I think so.
Okay. 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 Well, we'll touch base, you know, and see if we can certainly make that happen, because we definitely would love to have you back. I mean, this has been such an enriching show tonight. I mean, it has just been, you know, I mean, words cannot describe. You know, each of you have just brought so much power to this, and I really, I really hope that our, the listening audience really kind of gravitates and understand what is being said to you. Really hear, like you said, really pay attention, like you said, Melissa. Really, really to dig in and do your research, like you said, Parnell, to deal really deeply into spiritual understandings, like you said, Anna, and to you, Twana, tonight, to really pay attention to what's being said to you by your creator.
Yeah, that's right.
Pay attention, because if you didn't pay attention, that Kairos moment that we experienced from you would have been lost, for that moment. You know what I'm saying? And whoever needed to hear that, not only just all of us, but whoever else needed had it, would have missed it. So, hey, you guys, y'all are on point tonight. I loved it.
Really Sister Act just ran through my head. I'm all like, if you want to be somebody, well, you gotta wake up and pay attention.
I know that's right. Yes. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Truth Behind the Truth tonight. It has been one powerful night, audience. Hey, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, y'all need to be on the block, okay? With Truth Behind the Truth. I'm telling you. Ladies, I love you. Appreciate you so much for being here. We hope to see you guys in a couple of weeks. We will continue to highlight this discussion. And you guys chime in next week with Bishop as well. It's going to be good. All right? Y'all have a powerful night. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Love you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, your audience, for tuning in to The Truth Behind the Truth. Good night.
Good night.